Hey my friends, welcome back to the channel. Okay, so here's the deal. About a year ago or something like that, I made a video that was how to make mead like a Viking without lots of expensive stuff and whatnot, or something like that. The link is in the description. But so what I did was I showed you guys how to make mead, or at least what I did to make mead. And there was a lot of helpful comments in the comment section, which I have taken into consideration. I followed some of them I did not. Okay, so today what we're gonna do is we're gonna make Viking Blood Mead. Now the difference between regular mead and Viking Blood Mead is that one of them has the word blood in it and the other one does not. But in all seriousness, what is mead anyway?
Mead is probably the world's oldest alcoholic drink. Mead is essentially fermented honey and water and has a long and glorious history. It is referenced in the ancient cultures of China, India, Greece, Norse culture, mythology, and Egypt. The earliest documented evidence suggested that fermented honey beverage was drunk in India some 4,000 years ago. So, it's been around.
Okay, cool. It's good to know what things are. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go inside and I'm gonna show you the stuff that we need, all the ingredients you're gonna need, all the stuff that you're gonna need to make Viking Blood Mead. So let's go inside and see what we gotta do. Okay, all right, hang on. So before we go inside, I need you to do something. I need you to please click like on this video and subscribe to the channel, because that helps the whole situation. Because if you enjoy this kind of stuff, I want to make more of it, and then you'll get to see more of it. And if you like this kind of thing, you can support the channel by grabbing a shirt just like this one. It's a Vigvisir shirt. It's an Icelandic Viking shirt. No, it's an Icelandic Viking symbol from the 1100s or something like that. So not necessarily during the Viking era, but they used it after that. And it's like a good luck symbol through all weather. So I make these myself, and if you get one, I'll send an autographed postcard from Preacher 6, because that's cool. Working on that currently. The link is in the description. Okay, my friends, so now what's going to happen is it's going to be a little less of me, a little more of what we got going on with the Viking Blood Mead. Okay, so this right here is going to be actually where the mead is cooked, in that little pot right there, or at least that's part of it, because the mead is going to be in there warm and whatnot. So it's going to be on this grill right here, which has fire on it, and that fire is going to make the water warm, which is going to make the honey warm, which is going to make the yeast a better situation for what yeast things do with honey. So Kyle, what do you need to make mead? Well, actually I'm glad you asked, because it's really pretty simple. So all mead is honey and yeast and water. So those are the ingredients. That's all that it really is. But okay, so here's what you do as far as steps and whatnot. So this is what you call one step. And what this does, it's a disinfectant. So it will be something that you clean all of your stuff with. And this right here is a mead drinking horn, which you won't need that, but it's really cool to have. So what you're going to do is you're going to take all of your stuff that you're going to use, and you put a sink of hot water and about a teaspoon of that one-step stuff in the hot water. Let's put a couple, because why not? Two is better than one, right? Where are my manners? I hadn't finished introducing our stars. All right, as I was saying, from your right, oh, look at this. Again, this appeared. This wasn't here before. That happened in the last video, if you recall. I forgot to get this. There's something else I need too, which is not out here. And I'll put it out here in a minute. But anyway, okay. So we have a measuring cup, which is going to be used to pour mead or pour water from one thing to the other and whatnot. We have the drinking horn, which again, you don't need, but they're really cool to have. All right, we have balloons. Why do you have balloons, Kyle? Well, I'll tell you. You see, basically what happens, they have these expensive things called carbs. Carb? Carb. something like that. It's for letting gas out of the mead vessel, which we don't need. All you need is a balloon, because it is just to like keep the oxygen from getting into the receptacle that the mead is going to be cooking the yeast in. Not cooking, the yeast is going to be fermenting. The yeast is going to be like eating sugar. So that's what it's going to be doing. And a carb is an expensive thing. Maybe not expensive, but we don't have those. We have balloons. It does the same thing. Okay, we'll get to the what and the why of the balloons here later, but we have 3 gallons of water, which is what we're going to be using for this particular batch of mead, and we have a 5-pound jar of honey. Now the yeast that I'm going to be using is Red Star. Now this is Premier Champagne yeast. It's really good. It gives the mead kind of like je ne sais quoi, a sparkly kind of beery, fizzy thing. Sometimes, not all the time, but it's a nice quality. So here's the 5 pounds of honey. Here is the wooden spoon to mix things, and here's Thor checking things out, making sure that we get the mead right, because Thor likes mead. Okay guys, I was just informed that we're missing an ingredient. We're missing the thing that makes Viking blood Viking blood. So what is that?
Well, it's cherries, of course. Okay, so here's where it takes like, I don't know, a bazillion years. I'm gonna be doing this, pitting each of these cherries, of the whole bag of cherries, all of them. This is the process. My wife's gonna help me. We're gonna do this, and I'm not gonna make you watch like all 5,000 of the cherries. So let's just go ahead and start fast forwarding this, shall we? Okay, so that was one of those 2,000 years later. But yeah, okay. But this is what I do for you guys. I mean, I do all of this for you. And because we've never done this before, now is time for a close-up of the cherries to show you that they are actually real cherries.
All right, as we already know, this water is filled with the step 1 disinfectant. All of our stuff is in here, and it is being disinfected. Let's see what it looks like from underwater. Okay, so this is a kind of a couple of step process. So I'm going to have room for the cherries in the bottom of the gallons of water. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour the gallons of water into here so that I have empty jugs instead of full jugs. So, and then we'll get to the cherry smashing, because that's what has to happen next. Okay, I did forget something in our list of things that we're going to use. So this is our potato smasher. So since we're about to smash some cherries, let's smash them with the potato smasher, shall we? But first we got to clean it. So yep, that stuff in there disinfects everything. Good stuff. Okay, let's go smash some cherries. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take those smashed up cherries and I'm going to evenly distribute them through the 3 empty plastic jugs and put them in the bottoms of the plastic jugs. By the way, if you don't want to do it like this with the cherries, you can do it the easy way. You can go get some like cherry concentrate. I thought about that, and then I thought, what would be way cooler is to do it with actual cherries. So that's what I'm doing. So, but it would be way easier to do it with the cherry concentrate. It's in a little bottle, just like this. And you just pour it in to this here bucket in the back. Calling it a bucket, it's a pot, but you know what I'm saying. So anyway, yeah, so we're doing it like this with the real fruit, which is probably what the Vikings did, because they would not be able to buy, you know, bottled cherry concentrate. So that's what we're doing. But anyway, they probably didn't have, you know, pots and pans and stoves and, you know, a store that you could buy, you know, yeast at and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, honey was probably hard to come by, but they found it. They worked it out. So, yeah. This is 2022, people. So we're using what we have. You know what I'm saying? Even the potato smasher, they didn't have those, but we do. So we're using them. Okay, back to it. Okay, I know. It looks bad, but officer, I promise, it's just cherries. It's just cherries. I will say I definitely know why they call it Viking blood now. All right, that is a lot more civilized looking. So basically what we have now, we have the smashed up cherries in the empty bottles of nothing, because they're empty bottles. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn this here fire on, just like this. So basically all we want is for the water to be a little warm, so that it's like a nice place for the honey to be warm and the yeast to work nicely. So between like 85 and 100 degrees, something like that. So like, you know, like a hot tub kind of thing. So you know the feeling. All right, now all we have to do, that the water is nice and warm, kind of like the perfect temperature. Let's pour the honey in. And since we know that this jar is sanitized, we can just take a little water in there, put the lid back on. Woo. Get all the honey out of the jar. Because as we know, honey is not cheap. Speaking of not cheap, if you want to support this channel, you can please buy a t-shirt in the link in the description, or go to my Patreon, Kyle Hester Actor Guy. It all helps to finish and create movies. There, just like that. Look at that empty honey jar. And give that a nice stir until the honey's all dissolved. Fluffy little clouds up here, fluffy little clouds over there. Nice little tree. I'm kidding, we're not painting. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add 2 of these packets of the Premier Classique Red Star Champagne yeast. They're about 5 grams per packet. Now, I've been told that I put too much yeast in it last time, so I'm reducing the amount to 10 grams for 3 gallons. So I figured that a little more yeast, because we got the fruit in there, couldn't hurt. So I think this is going to be great. All right, so we just stir that up in there, and then pretty much we are ready to put that mixture into the bottles or gallon jugs with the cherries in them. And then we should have some mead going here pretty shortly, because this yeast is going to start eating the sugar, and that's actually what alcohol is just sugar that has been eaten by yeast. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. About as natural as you can do it. I mean, you see, I just like put some honey and water in a bucket, a pot, and it's gonna make mead. So pretty cool. All right, so now that we know that those are evenly filled with our base mixture of the honey and cherries. We're just going to top it off because that's already pretty warm water. So we're just going to top them all off to about like right here to let the enough room for the gases to come out as they go. Next step, let's shake it up a little bit, and then we'll put some balloons on those suckers as the tops, which is where the gas is going to collect. I'll show you that in a second. Alright, well this is a much more civilized view of things. So what we're going to do now that we have the honey and cherries and water and yeast in these gallon receptacles, what we're going to do is we're going to use the balloons to put on the top of them, and they become the place where, see this little gas right here that's starting to form? So that is the yeast eating the honey, and so that's just going to continue to happening. So basically, if I just leave these caps on, in about a day or so, this thing is going to go boom, and there's going to have lots of honey all over the place, and you don't want that, which is why you have to have a release. I mean, okay, I have actually just like poked holes in these things, but the balloons look cooler, so that's what we're gonna do. Okay, all right, I forgot to film the first one. All right, so now they have the balloons on there, and they are gonna gas up here in a little bit, and I forgot one thing. I need to go get a needle or a pin, and I need to poke some holes right in the very top of these guys, because that is where the gas is going to come out. So I'm going to go get a pin. Be right back. Okay, so we're going to take this here pin, and we're going to poke some holes right in the top, or thereabouts. It doesn't really matter, as long as it's got a place for the gas to go once it expands. That's all that really matters. And we'll do this with all of them. Okay, so how do you know when it's full of gas? Well, let's see. All right. How about that? So you see what had just happened there? So that is the mead making the gas come up into the balloons, just like that. So the mead is making the, I don't know what kind of, it's like methane. Nope, not methane. I don't know what that is. Hey, you know what? If you know what kind of gas, carbon dioxide, that's what it is. Never mind. I was going to say, if you know what it is, put it in the comments. But it's like carbon dioxide. So instead, put in the comments something else. Like, hey man, cool video. Right on. Okay, there's one last thing that we have to do, which I did not put on the list of things, and see, that is this here coffee filter. And what we're going to do is put the coffee filters over the balloons, because believe it or not, they do kind of make a little bit of sticky air come out of there. So just as a favor to yourself, just go ahead and, like, you know, put these guys over the balloons, just like that. That's all you have to do. And then so what I'm going to do next is I am going to strain the cherries out of there in about, I'd say about 10 days. And I'm going to take the cherries out and then just let it continue. Boy, I can't wait to try it, because my mouth is watering already. All right, mead's now cooking. All right, so what we did was, at the 2-week mark, we took the cherries out of there. So the cherries got strained out, and then just basically put the mead back on top of the fridge, which is where it was. And this is a little bit darker. We added some cherry concentrate to this just as an experiment. So I'll let you know how that goes, and we'll make a video just doing that next time. And so yeah, so that's what we did. And then basically this is gonna just age. We're gonna rack one of them, which is getting it off of the lease next week. So the lease is this stuff down here, and that is the yeast and basically the micronutrients and whatnot that settles to the bottom. And so yeah, so we'll basically take one of these, clear it out, pour it out, and into a new container, and then we will let the other two just kind of age as they are for a month or so after that. So that's where we are right now. Hey, my friends, thank you so much for hanging out with me here today, and be sure to check out all the rest of the stuff. I do lots of like walks through Hollywood and stuff like that. I do other things. I have bow and arrow videos and that kind of thing because I love archery, so I like to shoot arrows at things and whatnot. So you can check, I have like some lists of videos that you may like archery, like this mead, like walks through Hollywood if you like to know what like is in the sunset and stuff like that, and film stuff, some movies that I've been in and my experiences with them. So go check it all out. I have them all in the list in the channels, and so yeah, it's fun hanging out. Check out the videos, join the Patreon, Kyle Hester Actor Guy, and I'll see you on the next video.